Alright, it's Slightly Redneck, again with another video. Had something happen last week where I left my truck unlocked and somebody broke into it and stole just a couple of minor things, nothing really big, but one of the things was my first aid kit that I keep in my truck. So I've got to rebuild my first aid kit, so I thought I'd do a quick video here and show you kind of what goes into building a first aid kit for a vehicle. This is just kind of an everyday carry around basic first aid kit. So let me just go ahead and get to it real quick and we'll show you all the specifics here. Okay, let me start off by saying I'm displaying all this stuff on my reloading bench. So if you're wondering why there's a bottle of powder in the background, that's not part of the first aid kit. But anyhow, I think you could probably figure that out pretty quick. So first thing I want to talk about is I suggest you start off by just buying a kit, a pre-made kit. And the reason I say that is you can build yours from scratch if you want, but like I got this kit. This is a just in case, I've never heard of them before, but ideal for roadside emergencies, family first aid kit. The nice thing about this is that it comes with this great little bag here that fits, you know, in my console anyway. And when you open it up, it's got nice little storage for all the band-aids and stuff like that. And I'll talk about some of the specifics that are in here and why it's also a good deal. This cost me $10. This is a great find. I found this at Walmart in the automotive section. I've been looking for first aid kits in pharmacies and camping, and they have those there, but the similar kit in one of those places usually was in a hard case that didn't want to fit in my console of my truck, and it was $15, $16, $17. Some of them up to $20. So I picked this one up for $10, and it's got basically everything in it. There's a shot of the contents. Here, if you can see it, there's a shadow here. I don't have very good lighting in here, but there's a shot of the contents. You probably can't read that, but it's got the carrying case, first aid instruction card. That's pretty nice if you're not a first aid guru. You've got some scissors, needle nose tweezers, wooden tongue depressors, looks like Q-tips, gloves, towelettes, iodine prep pads, sting relief pads, some other towelettes, a bunch of triangle bandages, a whole bunch of different bandages and band-aids, a cold compress, an abdominal pad, a bunch of gauze pads and things like that. So anyway, you get the idea. It's a bunch of stuff. A lot of this stuff I'll probably never need. These cold compress packs are really nice to have. Chances are I'm only going to need one of them. That's why it makes sense to buy a kit like this, because if I need one of these, I can't carry 5 or 6 of them with me anyway, and I'm not going to use 5 or 6 whenever I use them. I'm going to use one, and I can just go buy more if I need to. But if I buy these individually, then this thing, I mean, I can buy a box of these, but they're going to cost me a whole lot more than $10, and all I'm going to need is probably one ever. I'll probably very seldom, if ever, have to use that. Same thing with some of these great big bandages like this. Well, that's not one, but you see the big chest bandages and ace bandages and all that kind of stuff. Probably never going to use that stuff. It's great to have, and it's necessary to have in your first aid kit, but you don't need to go out and buy a whole bunch of it and spend the money on buying a whole package of bandages just to be able to put 1 or 2 in your first aid kit. So that's why it's great to buy a kit that's already pre-made. I could buy all this stuff individually and find a case and whatnot, but I couldn't do it for $10, and I couldn't stock it like this for $10. There's also a whole lot of band-aids in there. You're going to use band-aids more than anything. That's almost always what I use out of my first aid kit is somebody's got a scratch, somebody's got a little minor cut, and they need a band-aid to put on it. I use them quite a bit myself. So what I do is I use up the band-aids, and then I do go buy a big box of band-aids and just replace them in this package whenever they're used up. So anyway, you got a pretty good assortment of stuff. I'm not going to talk about each individual thing, but most of the stuff you've got that's going to handle any kind of scratch, any kind of cut, sprains, all that kind of stuff is going to be pretty much handled by the kit. Now, here's the thing though. These kits never come with things like Advil in them. Advil's a great pain reliever. It's acetaminophen. If you don't like acetaminophen, carry aspirin. Aspirin's a really good one to have on hand. It's very likely that you might come across somebody on your commute to work that is having a heart attack. You can pop a couple of aspirin out and give them to them, and you might save their life with a $1 bottle of aspirin. This is not aspirin, but still good to have in there. A pain reliever. And then I also carry a ibuprofen. Well, this is ibuprofen, this is naproxen sodium. So I carry a pain reliever and an ibuprofen. Ibuprofen's an anti-inflammatory, so it does a pretty good job if you've got a minor sprain or something like that and you need to keep the swelling down. Ibuprofen does a pretty decent job with that. And I'll take these out of the packages. Here's another secret. When you run out of these, because I use these up all the time, people are always at work saying, I got a headache, something, I have to go get them, an Advil or Tylenol. There's not very many in this little tube, but keep this tube and just buy a bigger bottle for like your cabinet at home, your medicine cabinet, and refill this with those instead of buying a whole nother one of these. It's a lot cheaper to buy the bigger bottle. And then the nice thing about this case is that all this stuff will fit down in this case just fine. So I'll just, if I can get it past that, push it down in there. Same thing with the Aleve. If I can get it out of the package. Okay, a couple other things that I carry. I try to get travel size, small items. It may seem a little bit odd, but Blistex is a great one to have in your first aid kit. It's one of those things that nobody really thinks about, but I tell you what, if it's winter time, and you get stranded on the side of the road and you're having to go out and change a tire or walk a half a mile to a gas station or something like that, this stuff's great to have on hand. Keep your lips from getting chapped. There's nothing more miserable than chapped lips and having to walk and nothing to be able to do. Bottle of triple antibiotic ointment. This is the Walgreens brand, I think. This is great to have around. Anybody gets a cut or a scratch or whatever, put a little drop or two of this on there and then wrap it up with a Band-Aid, and you're pretty much going to take care of any of that stuff. And the one that nobody else ever thinks about, just a small deal of lotion. Same kind of thing. If I'm out, if it's freezing cold and I get stranded on the side of the road and I've got to change a tire and I'm out there with no gloves on, my hands are going to get beat up by the wind. They're going to dry out, they're going to start cracking, they're going to start bleeding, and a little bit of lotion can really help solve all those issues. These are the things I'm going to use all the time. I'm going to run out of this stuff fairly frequently and have to replace it fairly frequently. But that's the stuff you need to carry with you, the stuff that's going to be more likely to be used. Don't worry so much about getting something that's not, you're never going to run into. I'm probably never going to run into a situation where there's a 10-car pileup and I've got to treat 5 or 6 people for major injuries and bone fractures and whatever. That's probably not going to happen. But what is going to happen is somebody's going to cut their finger, somebody's going to sprain their ankle, somebody's going to need some headache medicine, whatever. Those are highly likely situations. That's what I need to focus my first aid kit on. So anyway, this is a pretty good deal. All this stuff included, the nice case, all the stuff that comes in the case, the lotion, the antibiotic ointment, the Blistex, the Aleve, the Advil, all that stuff cost me $20 total. I spent $10 on the case and another $10 or $11 on the extra items to put inside of it. And I've got a pretty decent little first aid kit I can throw in my truck. I'll add other stuff to it as I go whenever I find something on sale, find a good deal on something that I think, would work pretty well, then I'll be able to add to that. It's still got some room inside of it, and I'm pretty much prepared now for any kind of normal day-to-day stuff that I might be running into. So anyway, as always, I hope that helps. I hope you get some good information out of that. Leave comments if you would. Hit me up on Facebook. Let me know what you feel like needs to be in a first aid kit, and share with everybody else so that we all get the benefit of combined knowledge. And as always, God bless.